Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 1A. Myself, Priyanshi Goyal, and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 9th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, ICICT 2024, London, UK. The 9th edition of this conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was organized in London, UK on 19th and 20th of February 2024, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom today and tomorrow, that is 21st and 22nd of Feb 2024. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 6 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentations and 2 minutes for the question and answers. On 10 minutes, I'll raise a gentle reminder. There's another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to our chair for this session, Professor Kunihiko Takamatsu.
Meet you.
Good morning, sir. Kunihiko Takamatsu is a professor of Institute Management in the Office of Strategy and Planning at the Tokyo Institute of Technology. His main work focuses on institutional research in the university and university reform in higher education through agile informatics. After completing his PhD, he worked as a research associate and researcher at the Riken Institute. In 2008, he joined Kobe Tokiwa University, where he held various positions such as assistant professor, lecturer, and associate professor. Thank you for joining us, sir. Would you like to say a few words to the presenters?
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. We also have another session chair for the session, Dr. Sayan Chakraborty. Dr. Sayan Chakraborty is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Techno International Newtown, Kolkata, West Bengal, India. His research area includes medical image processing, nature-inspired algorithms, and machine learning-based applications. He has about 65 research papers published in international journals, book chapters, and conferences on various topics such as optimization, artificial intelligence, pattern recognition, and digital image processing. Welcome, sir. Would you like to share opening remarks with the presenters?
Yeah, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, we can start the session as early as possible. Best of luck, everyone. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to start with the papers. The first paper would be presented by Gabriel Pestana. I hope you are here, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here. Shall I
Yes.
share the screen? Or you're going through the presentations all?
You want to present the screen? Yes, you have the access. You can present the screen.
So we can start. So can I share the screen?
Yes, you may please start the presentation.
Okay. This will stop your screen sharing. So
Yeah.
can I share the screen?
I'll stop sharing. You can share now.
Okay, share. So are you seeing my screen?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, I will put the presentation here. Okay, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for attending this session. I'm going to present a paper that was submitted and accepted, and it will deal with health literacy and social awareness based on the digital awareness. So my name is Gabriel Pestana. I'm a professor at Polytechnic Institute of Setúbal in Portugal, and also a senior researcher at INOV. My research interest is mainly in the data analytics, knowledge management, and business process modeling for data governance workflow and context awareness and data processing and analysis. And we will speak a little bit about these aspects in a few moments. So I'm bringing here this digital health transformation because nowadays, and just going quickly, we are shifting in the healthcare from a reactive to a preventive paradigm. And why is this happening? One of the main issues about this is what we are going to deal in this presentation. Why this health 4.0 and especially this health 5.0, which is more focused on the customized personalization healthcare system. And why is this relevant? And why are we approaching these aspects? For one simple thing, the new adult senior are nowadays becoming the baby boomers and the Generation X. And from the baby boomers, I'm talking about those born on the 60s. And from Generation X, also those from the 80s. Also coming to the millennials, which were born on the beginning of the 80s, those are the new adult senior. And why is this a relevant issue? Because worldwide population is getting older. And this estimation is that about 20% of the population will have over 60 years old around 2050. And as we know, with age, there comes complications, and there is a need to have healthy lifestyles. And since the population is getting older, this is particularly critical in Europe, there are a need to make or to motivate, to incentivize people to adopt different lifestyles. And here is where the technology becomes a relevant issue, because as we look into this new tendency in the worldwide population, we also may see that these new adult seniors are those already with easy access to a huge amount of information provided by the technology. And this also contributes for awareness of the information and promoting that this new adults, since they are used to have access to the information using digital gadgets, they also have a health accountable citizenship, meaning that it's not sustainable, it's not more possible to have a reactive healthcare system. We need to adopt a proactive, and to be proactive, it's most important that people become a more health conscious. So all these digital devices can help us to get information about how we are going to perform and how we are performing. And this is also helpful if we use artificial intelligence. If we bring artificial intelligence into the game, then this promoting these healthy lifestyles becomes even more awareness. And this is one of the aspects that we are going to deal here in this presentation. So I'm going a little bit fast because we are very short on time, and I want to focus my presentation in this specific case study, which is the B4U project. This project introduces a lot of analytical models precisely to support these new adult seniors to be more aware and to have a platform where that can be useful to support their healthy lifestyles adoption, and most important, to motivate, using a gamification approach, to motivate them to keep with a healthier lifestyles in order to prevent what will happen with aging, the increase of chronic diseases and things of that. So here is the block diagram of our architecture. I will not go into too much detail. I will focus the presentation more on this data collection, follow-up plans, and dashboards, and all the workflow that was implemented to support this awareness with the gamified approach of the users. So this diagram gives you a big overview about what are the software models behind this platform. We don't have time to go into details. That's why I prefer this schema here, much simpler, focus on what we want to explain. So here we have the same diagram, focus on the three main aspects. We have the central system where the user interacts with, and then we have at the background this risk assessment system and this dashboard assessment system. Those are the three main components that are orchestrated to this event processor using Kafka as a message broker between these three components. And the important thing is, how did we manage to have this digital wellness workflow model so that based on the user profile, how are we going to keep them aware about risk factors? We are using BPMN 2.0 for the modulation of the scenarios that we have in the front. Okay, here is a short overview of the BPM diagram for mapping all the behavior of the system, and we are going to focus on these three activities, activity A3, A4, and A7, precisely, data collection, follow-up plans, and the dashboard view. So, as you can see with this plus sign, this means that you can drill down into more information. So let's drill down. And here, I will also not go into detail, but BPMN enables us to map a lot of activities. And also here, important thing, any unplanned, unexpected situation will log the information to provide an accountability and also the possibility to go and check for what's happening. So the system was also designed to assure the non-repudiation and anonymization of the data. So going to this activity, this is the backend. Let's see the front end. So here at the front end, we can see that the system triggers a lot of questionnaires that the user can subscribe. And when he subscribes, he can also see the amount of the questionnaire that he has fulfilled. He can come back later and complete. As he completes the form, the system and the analytical models will get a more precise information about the user profile. You can also report different values, as you can see here, can have a possibility to report and upload laboratory analysis that he has performed recently. And here you will see the historical data he has reported. So let's go to A4. A4 is the follow-up plans, meaning that when he fulfills those forms, the system will characterize a risk profile for that user and will trigger, based on what he has reported, an accountable and appropriate follow-up plans. And those follow-up plans will provide information based on what pathology, what disease was identified, and also on the risk level. So sorry, this is in Portuguese because the B4U was deployed in Portugal. It's being tested now. But here is meaning that we have here a literacy section with some short information. Why the system triggered this follow-up plan. And also, he will change the follow-up based on the risk assessment, if it's low, high, or very high risk assessment based on the user profile. So this means he has here a short information with some links, some videos, just to explain, and then periodically he has to
This is the
report
same.
some
This is my
information about what's happening. So
It's 10 minutes.
okay, thank you. The dashboard, same approach. We have here the BPMN representation. Let's see the front end. So the front end is like this. We have here a dashboard that is updated as we can see, as the user introduces new values here. The dashboard will update the information. As we can see here is updating. And let's go a little bit more detail. So this dashboard provides a set of KPIs, health clinical parameters, classified in different diseases, and those with reports and those without reports. And each KPI is mapped as a scorecard that the user can have a graphical visualization where he has these thresholds based on his profile. And these thresholds can be configured as we can see here. There are different types of KPIs, on targets, cost KPIs, and benefit KPIs, where this means that it can change based on the user profile, based on some medication or some treatment. So we can adjust the threshold so that the system can monitor based on the information reported using this kind of a traffic light. The user will receive some awareness, some notifications if he's progressing well or not. And when he's exceeding the threshold, he will receive some alerts to be informed. So this is here a kind of a gamified approach that will also be triggered if the user don't go quickly or routinely to the platform. And okay, thank you for your attention. This was a very quick presentation. Hope it was informational. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you for attending. Hope this was useful. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know the technical were the health literacy. So in what ways have you measured the impact of health 5.0 framework on improving preventive health measure and health literacy among participants?
Yeah, that's pertinent because all the health literacy, so the information that we are providing in this platform, they are from reliable official sources. So we spoke and we had in the consortium stakeholders from regulators, which identified based on the risk assessment of the person, what kind of information is relevant to provide in the follow-up plans. And the follow-up plans is dynamically created based on the user risk profile. And this changes as you report periodically because a follow-up plan is prescribed so that you can come to the platform and report the measurements that then are evaluated by the data analytic models. And if any suspicious situation or if you exceed the threshold, you will receive some awareness. This awareness is triggered to the user, and if the user consents, also to the healthcare professional that are following the user. So this will trigger this awareness in a more customized, personalized way, addressing the healthcare 5.0.
Thank you.
And the main outcome is that people get more conscious about what they are doing, and they are more prone to make some changes to their lifestyles, being more proactive and less reactive to any healthcare complication.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Professor, is there anything related to previous healthcare versions like healthcare 3.0 or 4.0 and health literacy and social awareness? Is there any connectivity with those versions?
Well, that's we were focused on the digitalization. So we are assuming here that the user know how to access digital devices. So they are digital natives. So we are assuming that the new older senior know how to use web and access information. And why I'm talking about this? Because the new paradigm in the healthcare is to become more preventive instead of reactive, because it's not sustainable. Nowadays, what we have is still a reactive. People get ill, and when they have an illness, they go to the doctor. And that's not sustainable, as we have seen for the 2050. 20% of the population will be over 60. And that threshold will bring a lot of complications. And those complications can be mitigated if we have a more sustainable lifestyles. Because nowadays, the life expectancy is growing, but that's not the issue. The issue is, are we living longer, but how are our quality of life? And it's a lot of studies demonstrate that to have a better quality of life, you need to be more preventive instead of reactive. That's why we are putting here a shift and not assuming the past, but assuming that, okay, the new adults or the new adult senior will be those with the conscious and access to the information. That's why we didn't speak about health, the health 3.0.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. Just a minute. Yes. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So the next presentation, for the next presentation, I would like to call Sir Andrea Ria to present the paper titled Multi-Sensing IoT Platform Enabled by Custom BAP RFID Tag.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'll stop sharing so that you can share your
Yes.
presentation.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, it's
Okay, perfect. So we can start. Okay, so thank you for the kind presentation, and good morning to everyone, because here in Italy it's morning. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them at the end of this little journey. So let's start considering the outline of the presentation. We're starting from the introduction, a brief introduction on RFID technology, and in particular, I want to show you our proposed system, discussing about the experimental results coming from measurement performed on a prototype. And finally, I'll conclude summarizing what we have seen during this little journey, focusing in particular on the future works we are now developing. So I want to talk about the RFID technology, radio frequency identification technologies, in particular passive UHF RFID, because these technologies enable to develop passive labels capable of identifying object and acquire some simple information. And this label, generally called tag, can be read by means of a reader connected to antenna, enabling the wireless sensing. But on the other hand, considering the passive nature of this label, The fact of asking for additive information, for example, the measure of some physical parameters, is a bit limited. So generally, a battery or in general, a power supply is necessary at the cost of a larger size, and the weight cannot be no more negligible. However, if we consider the pair RFID and battery, we have a higher flexibility due to the fact that the RFID chip can be programmed in order to execute some complex operations, enabling the multi-sensing purposes. Moreover, we can have an extended read range, and we can perform some onboard data processing, reducing the time, the data latency when we are in a wireless network. Through the employment of sensors, we can measure, for example, temperature, humidity, and other chemical or physical quantities. And in this way, we can apply our system in very different industrial scenarios, studying some particular aspects of cold chain and storage spaces, just as an example. Moreover, recently, some RFID sensor tags were sold with the RFID chip in the middle that are capable of communicating with a standard microcontroller unit and off-the-shelf sensors. And moreover, this kind of RFID chip can communicate with standard serial protocols such as the SPI or I2C. But moreover, we are now finding some chip that can communicate with a single wire protocol. So here you are the schematic, the simplified schematic view of our system. It is composed by three main blocks. The first one is enclosed in the green box, BAP RFID tag, that is a battery-assisted passive RFID tag, embedding the RFID chip EM4325. And then we have a microcontroller unit, and in particular, we employ the Arduino Nano V3 platform. And then on the right, you can see a set of sensors. For example, we use the humidity, the pressure, and the temperature ones, soldered on the same printed circuit board. And on the other hand, the accelerometer was in a standalone PCB. The RF communication was ensured by the impinge RFID reader connected to an 868 working frequency ×7 linearly polarized antenna. And by means of Python-based software, we collect all the information from and to the sensors. Now I want to talk about the design of the tag antenna. It is a printed linear dipole on a standard FR4 substrate with the main electrical characteristics reported on the top of this slide. And in particular, we designed this antenna with a larger width, because in this way we obtain a larger radar cross section, increasing the reading range of the tag. Of course, we had to design an LC matching network in order to match the impedance of the antenna with the input impedance of the RFID chip. By doing this, we measure a reflection coefficient S11 of this antenna that is reported in this graph, and it is well below -10 dB around the working frequency close to 8066 megahertz. That is the channel 4 standard for the European telecommunications. On the right, you can see the radiation pattern of this antenna, where the maximum gain is close to 2.8 dBi. That is a value in line with the standard value you can find for a simple dipole antenna printed on a FR4 substrate. This is a layout view of our tag. In particular, you can see some components that are indicated with the arrows. And the main size is indicated. It is 15 centimeters due to the antenna, of course. We designed this tag by using KiCad, the well-known free software, and some passive components were necessary in order to configure the RFID chip as a battery-assisted device, and in particular as an SPI slave device. In this work, Arduino, I mean the microcontroller unit, works as an SPI master with respect to the EM4325 chip and communicates with the sensor by means of the I2C protocol. Depending on the type of the measure we want to do, the reader can write a dedicated opcode in the memory of the EM4325 memory chip, and then the Arduino asks the related measurement depending on the type of the physical or chemical quantity that we want to know. But there are also some general broadcast opcode in order to perform multiple scan. For example, there is the opcode 00 that represents the scans of all the sensors present in the system. On the right, you can see just a screenshot of a part of the firmware that is inside the Arduino microcontroller. This is a photo of the system that we use for implement some measurement. In particular, on the left, you can see the sensors that are sold in two separated printed circuit board. On the left, you can see the accelerometer from analog devices with the reference axis indicated. And on the right, there is the lithium-ion cell in order to supply all the systems, of course, to configure the system in a BAP mode. Okay, these are the results of the temperature, humidity, and pressure measurement that we performed in a company warehouse. In particular, it was in a paper mill where these three parameters have to be more controlled in order to ensure the quality of the paper. And in particular, this measure took 30 minutes with a step recording that was set to 30 seconds. And in this way, it was a multi-scan measure. The value from the sensors were collected in a CVS file. Finally, we tested the capability of understanding the positioning of the system by measuring the acceleration gravity that on the three axes. So we measure the gx, gy, and gz as a fraction of the g, the acceleration. And we tested this with this rotating stage in order to change the value of alpha and beta angles. As you can see here in the middle of the table, we have the measured value. Okay, thank you. In the middle, I said that we have the measured value, and on the right, you can see the ideal value. There is a good agreement between among these values, but of course, for a more precise measurement, a phase of calibration could be necessary. Okay. So, in conclusion, an innovative BAP RFID tag with sensing capabilities used for indoor and outdoor application has been presented. And in particular, this tag embeds a general purpose microcontroller. And since it is a general purpose, you can replace this with many others different microcontroller depending on the use and, of course, the cost constraint. As future works, we are now working on the design on a custom PCB, including all the device on the same substrates, and of course, in order to minimizing the overall dimensions. So I have concluded my presentation, and if you have any questions, I try to answer.
Thank you very much. I have one question.
Yes.
Do you have any? So could you discuss the potential application of the technology
Yeah.
beyond the environmental monitoring, considering its capabilities? So any future?
Yeah. We designed and we tested this system in a paper mill because, as I told during this slide, we use this circuit with this system in a paper mill because in this factory the control of the temperature and the humidity is very strictly in order to improve or in general control the quality of the paper. So this is one of the potential use employment of our system, but in a future works we are now going to develop it for other application, just for environmental monitoring, for the quality of the air and so on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no more questions from my side. We can carry on.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next up, okay, just a second, I'll present my screen. Next up, I would like to invite, just a second. I would like to invite Lenny Putri Yulianti to present her paper titled The Implementation of Quantum Annealing for Ensemble Pruning. Are you here, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yes. I think you can start your presentation. I'll
Okay,
stop here.
let me share my screen. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leni Putri Yulianti. I am from Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. At this time, I would like to present my research paper entitled The Implementation of Quantum Annealing for Ensemble Pruning. The outline of this presentation is divided into 4 parts, including an introduction and related work, proposed method, results, and lastly, a conclusion. Ensemble learning combines multiple learning algorithms to outperform a single learner. At its core, ensemble methods rely on the premise that aggregating numerous base model can frequently outperform individual models within the ensemble. However, there is a main weakness of the ensemble, which is the need to combine many trained learners, which can cause ensemble complexity to increase significantly. Therefore, an ensemble pruning paradigm arose as a strategy for reducing ensemble complexity. In general, there are 3 kinds of pruning methods, which include the ordering-based, the clustering-based, and the optimization-based methods. The study found that the optimization-based method offers more comprehensive solution than the others. There are several optimization methods that have been proposed to prune ensembles in recent research, like we can see in this slide, such as greedy algorithm, simulated annealing, genetic algorithm, particle swarm optimization, and the others. However, these classical meta-heuristic approaches encounter limitations such as prolonged computation time and a propensity to converge to local optima. These limitations can be addressed by leveraging the principles of quantum mechanics, where quantum annealing can be used as a quantum-based meta-heuristic approach. Therefore, The contribution of this study lies in proposing the utilization of quantum annealing for ensemble pruning, aiming for enhanced accuracy and a reduced size. The main consideration for implementing it is formulating the pruning problems and integrating them into a quantum annealer, notably the DEV software. And this is the idea of the proposed method. The specific contribution of this study lies in using quantum annealing for the learner selection process as indicated by the orange highlight. The implementation of quantum annealing comprises 4 key stages, which include formulating the objective function, and then embedding the formulation into the DEV solver as quantum annealer, and then annealing to find the best solution, and reading out the solution to get the best set of trained learners. The study proposed one objective function and one constraint, which include maximizing ensemble accuracy while maintaining at least one trained learner is selected, that we can see the equation in the right side of the slide. And this is the detailed algorithm of the proposed method that has been used in this study. Next, the study used 5 data sets from the UCI repository as presented in this slide. The study used several kinds of base learner, including artificial neural network, super vector machine, naive bayes, key nearest neighbor, decision trees, and discriminant analysis to train the trained learners. The performance of the proposed method was compared to 4 benchmark methods, including bagging, AdaBoost, hybrid QA, and hybrid QA that has been optimized using particle swarm optimization, because this benchmark method have been widely used in recent research. The proposed method was then evaluated based on ensemble size and accuracy. The first one is ensemble size. The ensemble size represents the total number of learners that form an ensemble. The results show that the benchmark pruning methods achieve a greater reduction in size, which is good compared to the proposed method. This is due to the underlying differences in finding the optimal solution between particle swarm optimization and quantum annealing. However, it can be seen in the graph in the right side that although the reduction in ensemble size was not as large as the benchmark method, it still reduced the original ensemble. The study also evaluated the accuracy of all methods for all datasets as presented in this slide. The results show that the proposed method outperformed the other benchmark methods for all datasets, as represented by a blue highlight and bold text. The study analyzed the fact that the prune-trained learners that maximizing accuracy using quantum annealing made better predictions when they were combined in the majority voting. So here's the conclusion. First, ensemble learning shows the potential to achieve better performance by combining multiple learners, but with the need to handle increasing complexity. Classical optimization-based methods have been extensively preferred for ensemble pruning, but they are potentially getting trapped in local optima, especially over extended periods. The study proposed quantum annealing as a quantum-based meta-heuristics approach for ensemble pruning, where the primary objective of the proposed method is to maximize ensemble accuracy while ensuring the selection of at least one trained learner. The proposed method was evaluated on 5 UCI datasets. The results show that the proposed method could reduce the size of the ensemble while increasing its accuracy. Okay, last I would like to say thank you to my institution, Institut Teknologi Bandung, for supporting my research. And I would like to say thank you to my funding institution, where this financial support was provided by the Center for Higher Education Fund or Center of Education Service, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, and Lembaga Pengelola Dana Pendidikan or LPDP. Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I have a question regarding the method that you have used to optimize. Is there any particular reason that PSO was selected as the optimizer for your method?
Okay. Thank you for the question. That's a good question. So I use quantum annealing as my optimization method because quantum annealing use quantum mechanics for its computation. So the advantage of quantum mechanics is more faster and give a more holistic solution than the classical optimization because it is run on the quantum annealer that use quantum computer.
No, actually, my question was that somewhere you have mentioned about PSO being used with the QA, isn't it? With the quantum annealing. Was there any particular reason behind choosing PSO along with QA in your
For
method?
the evaluation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because in recent research, many paper use particle swarm optimization instead of the other. So simulated annealing or greedy algorithm or genetic, just a little research have done in pruning ensemble, but the particle swarm optimization is larger. So I use
Okay. Thank you.
for the benchmark.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? I'll move forward.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Um, Next up, I would like to invite Sri Mulyani Sunararu to present your paper titled The Influence of Smart City Factors on the Economy in the Tourism Sector of Bandung City, Indonesia. Are you here, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Yancy.
Yes. So you can start your presentation now.
Okay, let me share the screen. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Trimulyani Sunarharum. I'm together with my colleague here, Muhammad Taufik Hidayat. So we will going to present our research on the influence of smart city factors on the economy in the tourism sector of Bandung City, Indonesia. I think this is a little bit, the context of our research is a little bit different from the other papers in this session. So it is because our background is actually in urban and regional planning. So we are from Department of Architecture and Planning, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Indonesia. So to start, we actually acknowledge that smart city development in the last decade, like from 2008 to 2018, was able to encourage economic growth by 3% and increase the world gross domestic product. And it will also this also happened in Indonesia, especially in Bandung City, one of the metropolitan city in Indonesia. So in 2021, Bandung won various smart city awards. One of them is Singapore's Eden Strategy Institute named Bandung as one of the top 50 smart cities in the world in the field of smart city governance. And in 2017, actually, just before they received those awards, actually they already developed a kind of Bandung Creative Hub that was started from 2018. So they developed a portal named Patra Komala Portal. And this research aims to analyze and the influence of smart city factors on the economic development of Bandung City, especially in the tourism sector from 2019 to 2022. So before pandemic and until post-pandemic phase. For the methods, we use a qualitative deductive approach, and we also use theoretical context for generating the smart city factors and also the indicators that we deeply elaborate further in this research. So these are the factors and the variables that we use in this research. So we divided the factors into two factors, the internal factor and the external factor. Mostly we use internal factor here because the variables here are related to leadership, organization management, innovation from within the governance system of Bandung City itself, and also related to funding or budgeting. And then the external factor is the only one here related to collaboration amongst stakeholders within Bandung Metropolitan City. As we mentioned earlier, that Bandung is one of the metropolitan city in Indonesia, and its economic growth reaching 7.808% in 2018, and in the pandemic condition in 2020, it forced Bandung city's economic growth to decrease by around 2%. But then in 2021 and 2022, it increased again, reaching 3.76 and 5.41%. And the GRDP based on the current prices for Bandung in 2022 post-pandemic situation reached around 328 trillion rupiah. So the potential sectors for economic development of Bandung City here is actually in food sector. They also have superior products named Sakemala Integrated Farming. They also have like the processing industrial sector as one of the leading sectors of Bandung during pandemic, and this sector was able to survive at that time during pandemic. And the other potential sectors here is actually the culinary tourism, part of the tourism sector. The food and beverage industry is actually the key and very well known for Bandung City. Also, the transportation and warehousing sector are considered as the potential for development in Bandung City. The other one is actually related to technology and communications that actually driving Bandung more driving Bandung more like a good kind of environment for startup business to emerge in Bandung City. Next, if we talk about the influence of smart city factors on the tourism sector itself or Bandung, we know that actually Bandung City tourism focus on creative industry, as mentioned earlier. One of them is the culinary tourism. It's very unique to Bandung, and also the entertainment and also fashion industry is also one of the tourism attraction support for Bandung City tourism. And Bandung itself, it was also selected as one of the creative cities in the world according to UNESCO, and it's included in top 5 creative city in Asia. So like various, because of that as well, various national or international scale events are also held in Bandung City, like music concert, conferences, exhibitions, cultural parades, culinary and automotive events as well. And when we talk about the influence here, we also acknowledge that like public parks, the roles of public parks in Bandung is also plays a significant roles in supporting the national or city level or national or international events hosted in Bandung. And we are also looking at the development phases of tourism sector in Bandung related to smart city development. So from 2004, so the government were like strengthening the internal governance, and then they developed the digital infrastructure at the time, and then in the next phase, 2017 to 2018, it's the planning phase. So they developed the smart city planning document and preparing the legal framework and improving the public services. And then the next phase in 2019 to 2021, it's the implementation phase with implementing a pentahelix collaboration and develop more innovations on that and integrating open data and legal framework. And in 2022, it's a development phase. So the government developing the smart city in neighborhood level, not only in city level, and also strengthening the collaboration. And Smart City of Bandung is actually expected to become an accelerator program in the commitment of the city mayor to achieve the vision and missions of Bandung City that they already initiated from the beginning. And from this part, we can see that actually until 2022, as many as 163 smart city innovation programs has been produced in Bandung, and the most innovation programs are found in smart branding dimensions. As much as
This is a gentle 10-minute reminder.
Okay. So yeah, the smart branding dimension here is very important, to generate or to boost the local own source revenue for tourism sector in Bandung City. And also when we talk about the other factors like the internal factors here, the first one is the leadership. Of course, the roles of mayor here play an important part, and to improve, they have a strong commitment here to realize Bandung as a superior, comfortable, prosperous, and religious city. And they like the mayor, the leader of Bandung also want to improve the community welfare to increase Bandung City's local own source revenue, and it is from the tourism sector. And for this organizational management factor, here we can found that actually the importance role of the Bandung City Smart City program is to increase the promotion actually, and to increase the capacity of tourism actors and improve the quality of tourism destination as well. And for the third variables here, the innovation from the internal factors still, the Patra Komala applications platform actually, and the other platforms that initiated as innovations from Bandung Creative Hub actually helps to improve to increase the number of tourists in Bandung
Sorry
city.
to interrupt, ma'am. Can you please conclude the presentation as you have completed the 12 minutes?
Okay. Sorry, everyone. So to conclude this presentation, actually, we can say that the innovative development of Bandung Creative Hub, especially the roles of Patra Komala portal here, have the implications for increasing the number of tourists in the tourism sector, and it also increase the local owned source revenue, especially in tourism sector in Bandung, and the development of the other innovations to prepare post-pandemic period in Bandung is actually also related or rely on those smart city innovations that already initiated. That's all from us. Sorry for the time. If you have any question, please do. Thank you.
I have a short question. So based on your finding, what recommend would you make for other cities looking to leverage smart city concept to boost their tourism economy? Do you have any idea?
Thank you for the questions. Actually, based on our research, it is very important to for other smart cities in Indonesia or maybe in other countries to also have this kind of portal or creative hub to also allows collaborations not only like from the roles of the government itself, but also the creative industries and also the communities itself. They can also get together to boost the economy, and it was happen in Bandung that they can survive in pandemic situation because of that.
Together. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have a quick question. That how much do the smart city factors contribute to the economy in the tourism sector?
In the tourism sector, let me see. So it increased the local own source revenue in tourism sector by 86% in 2021 to 2022. So in post-pandemic situation, it helped a lot the tourism sector reaching like around the increasing around 86% for the local owned source revenue, especially in the tourism sector. So it's
Okay,
pretty.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Next up, I would like to invite Sir Farshad Ghasemi Tusi to present his paper titled The Relationship Between the Distribution of Neural Network Weights and Model Accuracy, a Benford's Law Perspective. Sir, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, so you can start the presentation. I'll stop sharing.
Okay, hello, everyone. Could you please confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, your screen
Yes.
is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Farshad Tusi. I'm working in Monastir Technological University. So the title of my work is the relationship between the distribution of neural network weights and model accuracy from Benford's law perspective. So I tried with introducing a little bit about Benford law first. Might not be familiar to some people. So Benford law is a phenomenon, or is basically a condition that occurs in natural distribution of numbers, and doesn't matter where the numbers are coming from as long as they are natural. So it was first discovered by Simon Newcomb in 1881. but then it was developed and more studied by Frank Benford. So they named the excuse me, they named the phenomena after the name of the scientist who developed basically this phenomena a little bit more and did a little bit more study on this law basically. So what does this law say? So it says that if you collect a relatively large number of numbers, let's say, and if you look at the first digit of all numbers, you will see that you have more numbers that starts with 1, and then you have more numbers that it starts with 2, but it's slightly lower than those numbers that it starts with 1, and so on. And finally, you have the lowest number of numbers that it starts with 9. So they came up with a formula to calculate the exact ideal value for each group of numbers. So for example, if you want to see exactly what is the percentage of all numbers that starts with 1, you will put the values in this formula and you will get 30%. So 30% would be the percentage of all numbers that starts with 1, and then 17% 2, and so on until 9, which would be basically 0.046. And if you add all these numbers together, it would be obviously equal to 1. So this is the ideal situation when all basically numbers are conforming the Benford's law formula basically. But in reality, the natural population of numbers are not exactly the same as this distribution, but they are close. So for example, this diagram here shows the population of the Benford laws in countries' population. So if you collect all the population of all countries around the world, and if you pick the first digit of each population for each country, you will see that you have more countries that their population starts with 1. So for example, I don't know, 1 million something, 10 million something, 100 million something, 1 billion something, and then 2, and then 3. And as you can see here, it has kind of that pattern here, similar to the previous one, which was the ideal one. Okay, so this is not exactly the same as the previous one, but it is very, very similar. So what we want to do basically, we want to see basically whether this phenomena is also observed among the weights of the neural network or not. And if so, how it is related, or is it related to the accuracy of the neural network or not, basically. So we came up with 3 research questions here. Do neural network weights conform to Benford's law? So we want to first answer this question. Does the change update among neural network weights going from, for example, going from epoch 1 or epoch T to epoch T plus 1 makes the neural network weights conform more or less to Benford's law? So we want to see, we know that the neural network, if it is not transfer learning at the beginning, is not trained. So in epoch 0, it still has some weights, and the weights are introduced either randomly or by some specific functions. So we can still calculate to see whether we see Benford's law in it or not. So we want to see if we train it a little bit more, how the weights are changed from Benford's law point of view. And finally, we want to check, do weights in transfer learning models such as for example, cell nets or the models that we are using for extra basically training, also confirm to Benford's law or not? So these are the 3 research questions I'm trying to answer. So the first thing is probably as I said here, when we talk about the distribution of numbers, so we are usually talking about integer numbers and mostly positive numbers, especially for this example, the population of countries that are integer and positive. But now when we are talking about neural network weights, we are not talking about integer numbers and not necessarily positive numbers. So we will have to normalize the data. So this is basically a method that I propose in the paper. So the values that are above or greater than 1 are going to be, and they are positive, they are going to be rounded down. So for example, if we have a value like this, it would be 1. Values less than -1, something like this, would be rounded up to -1. Values between 0 and 1 would be normalized in a way that we get rid of all the zeros from the beginning, and we catch the first non-zero value, and we consider that one as basically our target value. And we do the same thing for negative values, and we just multiply them by -1 to make them positive. So that's basically how we create the population of numbers in the neural network. So the targeted data set for the experiment that I did in this work are basically coming from 2 sources. So one source is containing 1,000 images that are coming from basically a well-known repository that is mentioned in the paper. So for these 1,000 images, I am running a binary classification for 5 different optimizers using a convolutional neural network, a CNN. And then I use the same basically 1,000 images. I ran them again on different learning rates, which I will show you the details in the next slide. And then the next experiment is using another set of data set. This time is slightly less, 600 images. Again, using 5 different optimizers to see basically, is there any relation between the model accuracy and the conformance to the Benford law or not. And then finally, I have picked 9 transfer learning models to analyze them to see basically whether Benford's law is existing in them or not. So the transfer learnings were not trained further, so I use them as they basically were with their current weights, basically. So how the evaluation is going to be done. So I use linear regression and p-value to evaluate the conformance between the population of weights or population of numbers and in the neural network. So how does it work? So as you have seen in one of the earlier slides, we said that we have one basically base population of numbers or percentages, let's say, that is called ideal Benford law population. Okay, so that comes from basically this formula, right? So we have a specific percentage, that's the ideal percentage for the group group of numbers that starts with 1, group of numbers that starts with 2, and so on. So we take this one as our base, basically our base population, and we compare any other population against to see how basically the targeted population is close to this population, okay? So for example, we want to see how this population, which is country's population, is close to the ideal population of Benford's law. So to do this, I can easily basically create a Cartesian space here. So the x-axis shows the ideal values for Benford law that I took it from the formula, and the y-axis shows the targeted value. So for example, in this example here,
This is a general 10 minutes reminder.
okay, so the targeted values here are basically the same as the ideal one, so that's why we have a very straight line, while here we have kind of like broken line. So I just go to the results here. So the results here shows that so what I calculated here was the average of the accuracy for test training, the average accuracy for the loss function for training and test. And also I calculated the RPCC, which is the linear regression measurement, and p-value. So as you can see, those basically, so for example, Other delta, which is an optimizer, has basically the worst performance for accuracy, training accuracy, and test accuracy. And as you can see here, it has the worst conformance to the Benford law. And on the other hand, Adam optimizer has basically the best value for the training and test accuracy. And as you can see here, is more or less has the best value for the conformance to the Benford law as well. So we see pretty much the similar results for the other one, for the 600 images data set, and pretty much similar results for the learning rates here. So here we conclude that the learning rate 0.005 is the best one, and it not only it shows itself in the accuracy of the training data set, but it also shows itself in the p-value between the ideal Benford population and basically the targeted distribution, and also for the linear regression itself. And we have a very good results for the transfer learning, which in all of them, we see that Benford law is revealed.
Sir.
Yeah,
I would have to request you to conclude the presentation.
Yeah, okay, so that's my last slide here. So so in conclusion, we had 3 research questions. The answer of the first research question is yes, Benford law exists in neural networks. And the second question, if we train the neural networks more, do we see more conformance? The answer is yes, but we need to have more experiment. And the last one, Benford law is revealed in transfer learning models as well. Thank you very much, and my apologies for taking extra time.
Thank you, sir.
If there is any question, I would be happy to answer.
Okay, so I have a short question.
Yeah.
So I don't understand your complicated research well. So, but so based on your research, how can understanding the the DBLE in CNN influence the future design and optimization of neural network models?
So what you mean by future design of the neural network exactly?
Yeah, so in your findings, how do you apply the result to the new
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. So basically, the usability of this technique. So if I go back again here, so you see that sometimes when you're basically comparing 2 models, there might be a lack of data, that you don't have enough data to basically run tests. Okay, so in this case, Benford law could potentially, so as I said, there's potentially because there is definitely a great need for further analysis and investigation. So there is a potential help that we could apply, or we could look at the weights of these 2 models and see which one conforms to the Benford law better. And then because we don't have enough test data set to test these 2 models to compare them, so this could be one potential way without having basically test data set to say which model A or model B is better. So something like this here, you see. So imagine that you don't have the test accuracy value or the loss test value. So instead, you could basically only look at the weights of the neural network and make some sort of conclusion based on that.
Yeah, we will understand which is better based on your result.
Yes, yeah. But again, as I said, that it is on its early age yet, this research. So this is a very kind of like a new type of research. And as I said also in my conclusion, we need to do a lot more research to see basically, can we really say that the conformance to the Benford law really be a factor to decide whether this model is better than the other one or not. So there is a current work now, I am working on it, and we are working on recurrent neural network to see whether this phenomena is also existing in recurrent neural network or not. So the preliminary result says that yes, it does exist, but we need to do a little bit more to see basically how we can take advantage of it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the Benford's law. So, is your research finding saying that it is already existing, or have you applied it onto the existing neural network or convolutional neural network framework?
Both. So
But
yes. So if basically the entire research has two categories. So the first category is that I took one completely untrained or non-trained model. So it was absolutely just, you know, it was instantiated with no training, and I start training the model from epoch 0. So as you can see here, the Benford law starts getting better and better and better and goes up, you see. So then we can say after nearly, let's say 900 epochs or 100 epochs, it will get very close to the actual Benford. And I also did the analysis on transfer learning models, which are already trained. So like, for example, VGG16, VGG19, ResNet, Inception, and things like this, basically. And I could see that they basically show a very, very similar diagram to the ideal, basically, Benford.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Can you please stop presenting? Thank you. Last, I would like to invite Sir Peter Midget to present his paper titled "What is the Value of Reputation?" Sir, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible. I'll stop
Okay,
sharing and share your presentation.
right. Can I try and share the screen?
Yes, please.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's visible.
Right. I'm going to try and put this on full screen. Okay, I'm going to start by saying something about how we get reputation and what it is. This is relevant for results which I'm going to show you right at the end of the presentation, because my results differ from some previous ones, and this is important in explaining why. I regard reputation as this time series of sentiments. To do sentiment analysis, we mine data. So that's the first stage up here. We look at the contents for each day, and through natural language processing, we score each one. So the way to imagine this is that you see an article on the web about a particular target. So the target organizations are major corporates. For example, Microsoft, Zoom is another. It could even be this conference, but I rather doubt it. And you turn what you think about that particular content into a number. So these are the numbers which I've just called S here for sentiments, and basically an averaging process for the daily sentiments produces a score for each day, put them all together, and you get reputation. Reputation is, if you like, extended sentiment. Down here, you see a typical reputation graph, very choppy, long runs up and down, reverses, and the scale is not so apparent here, but the maximum and minimum are plus 100, minus 100. Here's an actual one. So we have Apple. On the left, you can see a blown up version, so you can see all the ups and downs. On the right is the full scale, minus 100 to plus 100. And you can see that it's roughly at neutral level. And the peaks and troughs are not so apparent on that view, but when you look closely, you can easily see them. Now, the question I'm trying to answer is, why should we bother maintaining a positive reputation? Well, I think the answer actually comes down to money. If you don't make any money out of it, why bother? We sometimes see this in budget airlines, maybe. Certainly in the UK, we have some budget airlines which have continued bad sentiment and bad reputation. What happens to them? Do they are they interested in customer loyalty, gaining some sort of advantage, employing their continued deployment of current workforce? And we hear all sorts of comments like this, but does it really come down to money? And I think it does. One quantified figure here, a bad reputation costs you at least 10% more per hire. The mystery about that quote is how the author gets it. So the point of what I'm going to be trying to do is to find a way of getting that sort of figure. So I want to put a monetary value on reputation, and I'm going to do it in terms of share price. Now, share price is not the only monetary value you can impose on reputation, but for large corporate organizations like Apple, it's a useful one. So this is the process that I've been using to do this. First of all, smooth the very, let's call it a jagged reputation profile. Identify the turning points in the smooth data. So that's actually done by a very simple low-S construction. Look at the what I call excess sentiment, which is in each segment between a turning point and the next turning point. Look at how that sentiment would have traveled in the absence of any other effect. In other words, do a simple prediction. Then look at what it actually was after that particular event, and calculate the excess sentiment. Then link those up with the changes in, now I've called it utility here. Utility means the change in share price. And then take a ratio of the change in sentiment, in other words, the excess sentiment, ratio of that to the change in utility. So that's what you see in this expression here, C subscript X. And that is a measure that I've taken of reputation. That technique is not brand new. It's originally due to Gillett and has been used since, also in the context of reputation, in a slightly different context, because the ability to actually see a reputation profile has only been available recently. So here is another, a couple of other real examples of how this works. On the left, you see the Ford Motor Company. What I've done is to plot the actual reputation profile, that's the red part. The smooth part is in blue. And you can very easily see on this one the peaks and the troughs. So it's then a question of taking each run. So let's take this first up run and predicting what it should have been in the absence of any other effects. So that's your excess sentiment, and then look at the corresponding share price change. On the other side, we have an example which is actually Singapore Airlines, which is much less obvious. You can just about make out some peaks and troughs, but the smoothing certainly helps to work out what is going on there. Now let's look at some results. If we look at this column called mean, you can see the general range of these results. In the middle, now I've used something like 250 companies, all processed in exactly the same way. In the middle, we have around about 9–10%. There is a very large tail at the bottom in the 1–3%. So this is percentage of total capitalization. Capitalization in many cases in billions of dollars. So 1% of billions of dollars, you can work out what sort of numbers we're thinking of. At the top end, the largest I've got here is 36%. Those are, I think, I would say that sounds too large. That's a very subjective view, but I would say the 10% range downwards is much more representative of what I think it can be. So you have my contrasting view with an objective view, and we can see a few others here. What I'm looking at here is what you can do with organizations which don't have a share price. And there are many here which are really quite surprising. My favorite is Lego, and I like that one because the reputation for Lego is overwhelmingly positive. What we do is to link them up with very similar organizations in the same industry sector. So, for example, a bank like Coutts here, you can look at the general banking sector, and you can try and interpolate from there. Again, the means here are really quite low. So my end result is this capitalization in the region of 10%. So I'll just mention very briefly, some evaluations have been done in the past few years, around about 2019, 2020, which give much higher capitalizations, and they are mainly based on subjective views, which I think are certainly not as good as an objective view using 250 independent evaluations. So I will stop the share and take questions. Actually, I won't stop the share because you may want to refer to back to some previous slides. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will request the chairs for any questions they might have.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Professor. I have a question that the analysis that you have shown in your research, the data that you have taken, is there any data source of that?
Sorry, can you say it again, please?
Yeah, I'm asking that the analysis that you have shown regarding different organizations from different sectors, the
Yeah.
data you have got or the analysis that you have done based on the data based on which data you have done. That's what I'm asking.
What's the origin of the data?
Yeah, that's what I
Yes. It's gathered from an organization called Pentagroup, which
okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's some noise in the background. Yes, Pentagroup, based in London, also active in Spain and New York.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions? Since there are no more questions, I'll take this forward. Thank you, Peter, sir, for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
You.
Okay. So yes, thank you, everyone. I would sincerely like to thank all the authors for their excellent presentations and contributions in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this 9th version and all the previous 8 versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 10th version 2025 as well. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICICT 2024. I also thank our session chairs, Professor Kuniko Takamatsu and Professor Sayan Chakrabarti for chairing the
Thank you.
session. A token of appreciation to the chairs on behalf of Team ICICT 2024 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation partners. Thank you for your valuable presence, everyone. I kindly request you all to please switch on your cameras for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. Can everyone else please open their cameras? All right, just a second. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay connected. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.